Hello, my name is Zohar Mihaely, and I want to introduce you to my book, Hanna, Arendt and the Crisis of Israeli Democracy. In this book, I basically analyze Arendt's late thought as it is presented in a number of articles published in the early 70s under the title Crisis in the Republic, in which she reflects on events that shook American society in the 60s, namely the war in Vietnam and the protests against it. These considerations touch on the most important issues or motives in her political theory, such as power, violence, definition of the political, what she views as genuine politics, the phenomena of lying in politics, and revolution. However, my book offers the reader much more than an explanation of her insights I just listed, since I seek to apply them in explaining the socio-political reality in Israel today, as it is reflected during the mass protest against former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last year. The ongoing demonstrations in front of the Prime Minister's residence next to Balfour Street in Jerusalem and at intersections and bridges throughout the country, which became an everyday reality in Israel, revealed a deep socio-political crisis that shook its foundations, in part because it waged a war between political blocs and other symptoms besides the familiar ethnic rift, such as damage to public space through increasing government intervention and the presence of what Arendt calls organized lies in politics, which raised fears among Israelis like me that if Netanyahu remains in power, there is a danger to the future of democracy in it. Serious danger. Now, this is not just a comparison between events in America in the late 60s and recent events in Israel, because I try to show that Arendt spoke from her time to ours also in the deep sense of the challenge her thought poses to our understanding of the meaning of politics in general, not only in Israel, but to anyone. For Arendt, politics is not about the mechanism of parties and campaigns of one person or another for this or that position. This is what most of us have in mind when we hear the word politics, and in fact, the reason why it is hated by many. According to Arendt, this is one of the symptoms of the fact that the meaning of politics in the modern world has been lost. And this loss is not related to right or left, political right or left, or a particular economic system, but to the fact that we live in a false political culture. Namely, the public sphere is saturated with prejudices inherited from a long tradition of political thought that goes back to Plato, that led to the fact that political discourse today is now reduced to one question: who controls whom? As if that is the essence of all human affairs. For Arendt, politics has existential meaning, and it is a fundamental realm of our lives that relies on pluralism. Not a man, but people inhabiting the world. Hence, the meaning of politics is not necessarily an activity through institutions, but is a space of people who settle the world and experience it in different ways. Arendt brought with her a Republican spirit which was inspired by the ancient Greek polis and the councils in modern revolutions, and especially the American one, according to which a citizen cannot be happy unless he is a partner in the political process. Citizens are not just meant to serve as an audience for politicians' speeches. Arendt was troubled that governments were becoming privileged groups with monopole on all the power in the public sphere, groups that separated themselves from the people. She suggests a spirit against it. She suggests a spirit of freedom and self-government centered on developing political thinking that requires no prior theoretical cognitive knowledge, but civic awareness of the potential power of our collective action in the public space. After all, the power of a government does not stem from itself, but from the opinions of the people, of the many. My book is recommended for those who encounter her work for the first time as well, or people that are just interested in politics. Arendt's texts, Arendt's texts that I focused on open up to readers, even to readers without philosophical background training, the opportunity to watch her think about the world, politics, and the way she tries to apply her methods of thinking from her great scholarly works, which are complicated philosophically, to the issues that were in occurrence while she was writing, namely the demonstrations against the war in Vietnam and other. So the book is not just meant for, it is also for Arendt scholars, but not only. My book is exceptional in its field in the sense that it is not committed to any tradition such as the post-Marxist left or radical feminist positions, other than reading Arendt herself. And I can say that it excels in its descent from the academic ivory tower, as I said, making the questions and the concepts of Arendt's thought accessible to the concrete context of the lives of Israeli readers, as well as anyone who is interested in politics and especially in political reality in Israel today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you will enjoy reading my book. Thank you.